16th of January, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Hashavua, Yisro.
How are you?
Baruch Hashem, and you?
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Get too loud over here. Okay. Can you hear me clear?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go. Parshas Yisro.
Vayishma Yisro, Kohen, Midyan, Chosein, Moshe, Eis Kol Asher Asa Elokim LeMoshe Uli Yisrael, Amo Ki Hotzi Hashem Es Yisrael Mimitzrayim. So Yisro heard. Yisro was the priest of Midian, the father-in-law of Moses, heard all that Hashem had done for Moshe and for Israel, his nation, that Hashem brought Israel out from Egypt. Okay, so Rashi says, Vayishma Yisro, Yisro heard, Ma Shemua Shama Uva. Okay, what report did he hear and he came?
Right. So the Mefarshim say that Rashi explained that. Rashi is pointing out when the pasuk says Yisro, the Lord of Midian, the father-in-law of Moshe, heard all that Hashem had done for Moshe and for Yisro. Everybody heard that. That's not a big. What's the big deal? But the point is, Mashmiya Shoma Uba. What did he hear that prompted him to come? Unlike everybody else. I mean, all the nations of the world also heard about Kriyas Yamsuf. In fact, the Medrash says that all waters in the world split. I was having a cup of Coke, and all of a sudden his cup of Coke split. I mean, not the actual receptacle, but the water, the drink inside split. So everybody knew something strange was going on. But the point is that only Yisro was the only individual who actually, as a result of hearing about Kriyas Yamsuf, he actually got up, packed his bags, and came to join with the Jewish people. So this is the new thing. What is the unique, what events prompted Yisro? They should actually not just hear about it, but actually hear about it, and as a result of hearing about it, get up and come and be joined to be part of the Jewish people, as opposed to everybody else. And this is what Rashi's. That's the point over here, because that's the actual hearing about everything that happened wasn't unique to Yisro. That happened was everybody. Okay, because that's basically what Rashi's saying is Vayishma Yisro, Vayikach Yisro Chosei Moshe, and he went and took his thing and he actually packed his bags and decided to join up with the Jewish people. That was the unique feature of Yisro. So Rashi's saying what was the series of events that prompted him to do so? Says Rashi,
Kriyas Yamsuf u Milchemes Amalek, the splitting of the Sea of Reeds and the war with Amalek.
Okay. Now the various explanations Because why does Rashi single out these two events? Because Rashi, in fact, Yashi's going to say in a minute. Is kol asher also lahem b'yeridas hamon u'be'er u'ba'amolek ki yotzias b'nei Mitzrayim zu gedol ha'kulam. Now, as Rashi doesn't mention anything about the actual going out of Egypt over here. He chooses two specific events: the actual Kriyas Yamsuf and Milchemes Amalek, which happened in the end of last week's Parsha. We see that the Amalek attacked when the Klal Yisrael were in Refidin. So the Farshim explained that Yisro, and that really explains what was unique about Yisro, that he was the actual one who actually got up and packed his bags and decided to join the Jewish people, not just to be an adherent from a distance. So the Mefarshim explained that the idea is that how could it be that after Kriyas Yamsuf, where it says all the nations shuddered, Shoma Amim Yegozun, Chilo Chaz Yeshu Peloshes, Oz Nivalu Alufei Edom, Elei Moav Yachazei Meroad, No Moigu Kol Yoshvei Kanoad, Tipal Alei Mimosu Mofachat, Bigdoi Zerah Chayidim Ka'aven, Ad Yavam Chashem, Ad Yavam Zikonisa. See, everybody, all the nations were like, as I said, they're sitting in the Heisen. Means they were mamish shaking in their pants. I mean, translated literally means they were so afraid. They didn't dare. The Jewish people were the untouchables. Yet, within a few, how long did it happen ago? Within a month or so, within a month, the Amalek was already there attacking the Jewish people. They already had enough courage and fortitude to be able to take up arms against the Jewish people. Said Yisro to himself, you see how time has its effect, that the tremendous effect of the Kriyas Yamsuf, of the splitting of the sea and all the tremendous miracles that were involved, within a month or so, the effect was wearing off. So if we want that this to actually be part of the experience of the Jewish people, right, and to be have a connection to God, it's not good enough for us to stay at home and rely on the fact that these tremendous miracles we heard about will be enough for us to be able to be allegiant to Hashem. We've got to actually go ahead and join the Jewish people. To do it from a distance is not good enough, because you see what happens when people remain at a distance. The effect wears off. So therefore, Yisro decided even after Kriyas Yamsuf, it's shaykh that it can be followed by the war of Amalek. The Amalek can still go ahead and have the courage to attack the Jewish people, even though there's been such a tremendous Klal Yisrael were on such a tremendously high pedestal after Kriyas Yamsuf. Nevertheless, Amalek could still attack. This must mean that we've got to, in order to be allegiant to Hashem and to his people, we've got to go ahead and actually join with them. To do it at a distance is not good enough. Okay? Yeah, Yisro.
Yisro, Shiva Shemos Nikra'u Lo. He was called by 7 names: Reuel, Yeter, Yisro, Chovav, Chaver, Kani, Putiel.
Okay.
Yeter, Al Shem sheyiter parasha achas batorah. Okay, so Yeser, because he caused one more passage of the Torah. Ve'ata techezeh, and you see, Yisro lich she nisgayer v'kiyem ha mitzvos hosifu lo os achas al shemo. Yisro, when he converted and fulfilled the commandments, they added a letter, the Vav, to his other name, Yeser, which made it Yisro, I guess. Chovav shechi bev es haTorah. Chovav, because he loved the Torah.
One second. Period. Now, v'chayvav hu Yisro. Chayvav and Yisro are one and the same person. Shnema.
I don't know where you are.
1 second. Chayvav shechibe v'sator. Okay.
That's what I just read.
Right. V'chayvav hu Yisro. You have that?
Oh, you continuing?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Chovav is Yisro. Shene'emar mibnei Chovav chosein Moshe. For it says that sons of Chovav, the father-in-law of Moshe.
Okay. Now, what was Rashi's pointing there? That don't think that Chovav is a father of Yisro or a son of Yisro.
Right.
Okay.
Omrim Reuel aviv shel Yisro. And there are those who say that Reuel was the father of Yisro. Okay, so in other words, he said that since it refers to Chovav as the father-in-law of Moses, then Chovav must be the same person as Yisro.
Right.
And now he moves on to the next name, which is Reuel.
Right.
And he says there are those who say that Reuel was the father of Yisro. Not, in other words, not another name for Yisro, but he was the father of Yisro. Umahu Omer, and what is it that which is said? Vatavona el Reuel avihen. And they came to Reuel, their father, meaning the daughters came to Reuel, their father.
Right. So it seems
how can you say that Reuel was the father of Yisro when he's referred to as the father of the daughters?
Right.
Shehatinokos korin la'avi avihen abba. Because young children call their father's father, father. So in other words, the daughters may have called Reuel father, even though he was really their grandfather.
Correct.
But that would mean you'd have to refer to the daughters as being tinochos, which I don't think that fits, because I think Zipporah was at least Zipporah was a grown woman.
Well, how old was she?
Actually, you're right. I don't know, because just as she married Moshe doesn't mean anything. She could have been 3.
Yeah, I mean, she did have later. Well, it's quite some time later she had children.
She had children, right? But we don't know how long. Right. We know it was while Moshe was there.
I mean, according to how long actually Moshe stayed in Midian is a subject of discussion. But
right.
The second son, Eliezer, was born shortly before they left, and his bris milah should have been on the way. but Moshe Rabbeinu delayed it because he didn't want to circumcise them on the way. And when they stopped at the lodging place, right, at the hotel, inn, or whatever it was, that's where there was the whole story that the snake wanted to swallow him up. Right, because he didn't do the Mila straight away. So Koponim, you see over there that that's when Eliezer was born. How much Gershom was older, I don't know.
Right. Okay. Hossein Moshe, father-in-law of Moses. Kan Haya Yisro Miskaved b'Moshe. Here it is that Yisro is honored through Moshe. Ani Hossein Hamelech. I am the father of the king. Ule She'avar Haya Moshe Tola Hagedula Bachamiv. While in the past, Moses attributed the greatness of his father-in-law.
His greatness to his father-in-law. Whereas
I'm the son of father-in-law.
Right.
Shav El Yeser Chos no.
That's what you have to add. As it says, Shanema
Turn to Yisro, his father-in-law.
Oh, Yeser, his father-in-law. Okay, so you see, he describes Yeser as being his father-in-law. He's honored by the fact that Yeser is his father-in-law.
Right. So it's sometimes one gets honor from the other, and other times the other gets the honor from the one.
Right.
LeMoshe uli Yisrael, to Moshe and to Israel. Shakul Moshe Keneged cool. I have a 3 dots under the cuff. Is that right?
No, that's not shouldn't do that. Kol
Yisrael. Must be Kol Yisrael. It is to equivocate or make equivalent Moshe and all of Israel.
Right.
Ace Kol Asher Asa. All that was done. Lahem, for them.
All that he had done means all that Hashem had done for God, all that God had done for Moshe and for Yisro, his people.
All that he had done for them. Biridas Haman Uvabe'er Uva'amalek. In the descent of the manna and the well and the war with Amalek. Ki hotzi Hashem v'gomer. Because Hashem took them out, etc. Zu Gidola al Kulam. This is greater than all.
This was the greatest of all of them. Of all the miracles that Hashem had taken Israel out of Mitzrayim.
So how can it say that Moshe was equal to all of Israel? He's equal to an entire nation. A nation has characteristics that are not comparable to an individual. I don't get what it's saying here.
I guess the pshat is the level of righteousness. Means in as much as the nation of Israel was deserving that Hashem should do these miracles for them, so to Moshe in his own right was deserving that Hashem should do miracles for him. But that's the way what it seems to be saying. Let me check up a bit. Yeah.
It seems odd. I mean, the Bnei Israel did a number of different sins. They complained and they didn't listen to Hashem, whereas Moshe didn't do any sins. You might say, well, he sinned when he spoke to when he hit the rock. But
that was much later.
Even then, it's. I mean, that was a mistake, as opposed to the Jewish people complaining and doing things bemazed. So I would say Moshe is more than them in that respect. He's more deserving of miracles.
Okay. I don't know. You always have when you have a tzibur, a group together, then you always look at the good parts of the group and ignore the sins of the individuals. I don't know. It's a good point. But upon him, we see that Moshe Rabbeinu, in his own right, was deserving of the same miracles as all the people together.
Yeah. Okay. All right, weiter.
Yeah.
All right, bet. Vayikach Yisro Chosein Moshe es Tzipora Eshes Moshe Achar Shilu Checha. And Yisro, the father-in-law of Moshe, took Tzipora, the wife of Moshe, after she was sent away.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rashi says, Achar Shilu Checha, after she was sent away. She'amar, Kish She'amar, Lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu B'Midyan. When it says, when Hashem said to him, in Midyan, when Hashem said to Moses in Midyan, Lech Shuv Mitzrayim, go return to Egypt.
Right.
Vayikach Moshe es ishto ve'es banav v'gomer. And Moshe took his wife and his children, etc.
So he wanted to go back with them to Egypt.
Right. V'yatza Aharon likraso. And Aaron went out to greet him. Vayif geshehu b'har ha'elokim. And he met him at the mountain of God. Amar lo. Aaron said to Moshe, Mi haim halalu. Who are these? Amar vanai. Amar lo, zu hi ishti she'nesa si b'midyan ve'elu bani. Moshe said to Aaron, this is my wife whom I married in Midian, and these are my sons. Amar lo v'heichan ata molivan. Aaron said to Moshe, what? Molivan. And where are you taking them?
Right.
Amar lo l'Mitzrayim. Moshe said to Aaron, to Egypt. Amar lo al harishonim an ta'arim va'ata ba lehosif alehem. Aaron said to Moshe, we grieve over the first ones.
Means
And you
the
want
ones
to
who are
add
there already,
more to them?
right?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
The ones who are already there, about those we are, right? We've got enough tsuras with the ones who are already there. Now you want to bring more.
Amar le lechi leves avicha. So Moses said to her, to his wife, go to the house of your father. Natla shnei vaneha v'halcha la. So she took her two children and she went. Okay.
Right.
That's
She went back. She went back to Midian.
right.
So now this whole time during the period from from the time Moshe had gone back to Egypt until now, after he left Egypt, which was at least a year, if not more, so Tzipora was back in Midian. And now, before, well, the question is before Matan Torah or after Matan Torah, now she came back with Yisro, and she came back with her sons, with her two sons. Okay?
Okay, Pasuk 3.
Yeah.
The ace shnei vaneha asher shem ha-echad Gershom ki amar ger hayisi be'eretz nachria. Okay, so and her two sons, that the name of the one was Gershom, because he said, a stranger, I was a stranger in a land that was Nachria. What's Nachria?
Strange land.
Strange.
Eretz Nochria. Ger Yisa was a sojourner, a stranger in a strange land, foreign land.
Okay. Is that related to the word Nachri, which is a non-Jew?
Correct.
So what, it means a foreigner in that case?
Yeah.
Okay, so foreign. Okay, so now verse 3, there's no Rashi. Verse 4, V'shem ha'echad Eliezer ki Elokei avi be'ezri vayatzi leni me cherev paro. And the name of the one, or in other words, the other, was Eliezer, because God of my father helped me and brought me out from Paro. From what of Paro? From the sword.
Right.
Oh, he saved me. He saved me from the sword of Paro.
Right.
Okay, now Rashi says, Vayatzi leni me cherev Paro. He saved me from the sword of Paro. Ke she gilu dasan va'aviram al davar ha-mitzri. Okay, so it was when Datan and Aviram revealed about the matter of the Egyptian. Uvikesh laha rog es Moshe. And he sought, that is, Paro sought to kill Moshe. Naasah Tzavaro ki amud shel shayesh.
Is marble.
Shayish is marble. Okay, so it was the neck of Moshe. His neck, that is Moshe's neck, became heavy, like marble. Kamud, like a pillar of marble.
Like a pillar of marble. It means it became hard, that the sword could have no effect.
Right. So that's, he saved me from the sword of Paro. Okay. So it's referring to that miracle that Hashem saved Moshe from the sword of Paro.
Right.
Okay. That was 4. Now 5. Vayavo Yisro Chosein Moshe Uva Nav Veishto El Moshe El Hamidbar Asher Hayu Asher Hu Choneh Sham Har HaElokim. Okay, so Yisro, the father-in-law of Moshe, and his sons and his wife came to Moshe to the wilderness that he encamped there.
Yeah, he was encamping there. Har HaElokim,
the mountain of God.
Right.
Isn't there missing a word like al or le? Well, it says he encamped there, mountain of God.
Well, it's to the desert, right? Which was Huhar Elohim, or I don't know. It's interesting. It does seem, lacking a connecting
preposition.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So El Hamidbar, to the wilderness. Af anu yodim sheba midbar hayu. I usually translate af as even, but this says we too.
Right.
We too know that the wilderness was.
That they were in the wilderness.
In the wilderness they were. We already know we're in the wilderness. Why is it telling us again? Ella b'shivcho shel Yisro diber hakasuv. But to the praise of Yisro, it is speaking. It's giving us praise for Yisro by mentioning the wilderness, because Shehaya Yoshev Bichvodo Shel Olam. He was living in a place of high honor in the world.
Right.
I thought Yisro was an outcast. I thought he had rejected religious opinion, and the shepherds all hated him.
Right, but I'm not sure exactly, because there's like a kind of a contradiction, but it is a seeming contradiction between the midrashim over here. On the one hand, he was a very honored person. On the other hand, he was considered an outcast. I don't know.
Unedavo libo latses el hamidbar. And yet his heart moved him to go out to the wilderness. Makom tohu, a place of desolation. Lishmoa divrei Torah, to hear words of Torah. So he was in a comfortable house, and he had a nice life, and yet he went to the wilderness to be camping out with the boys, and that's to his honor.
Right. It's not quite camping out with the boys, but
Well, he's camping out. In other words, he's not in a comfortable place like
right, but they were not out on a field trip. You understand?
right. He's in the Sinai desert with sleeping on rocks.
Right.
I slept in the Sinai desert once. It wasn't so bad.
No, it's not cold at night.
I had a sleeping bag, and it wasn't cold. I wasn't cold, but I don't get cold too easily. So, but I was with a bunch of people, and nobody complained.
Okay.
I'm not. I think it was in the fall. No. It was in the winter. It was in the winter because I remember it snowed.
It snowed?
Jerusalem, it snowed. It didn't snow in the Sinai. When I was in Jerusalem on that trip, it snowed. That was the same trip that I went to the Sinai. So it was in December. It wasn't cold at night.
That's interesting. Okay.
All right, let's see. 6. We have time?
Yeah, we have time for another pasuk. Yeah.
Vayomer el Moshe, ani chosencha Yisro, ba lecha ve'ishtecha ushne vaneha ima. Boy, it's really redundant. Even more redundant when you read in the Hebrew.
Right.
Okay. Vayomer el Moshe. So Yisro, said to Moshe, al yedei shaliach, through a messenger,
Right.
ani chosencha Yisro v'gomer, I, your father-in-law, Yisro, etc. Im ein ata yotze begini, if you don't come.
If you're not going to come out, if you're not going to come out, begini, for my sake,
begini, okay. Say begin ishtecha, come out for the sake of your wife. Ve'im ein ata yotze begin ishtecha, and if you're not going to come out for the sake of your wife, say begin shnei vaneha, come out for the sake of your 2 children. So in other words, he sent for a messenger because he wasn't there yet. He wanted Moshe to come and greet him, and he was afraid that Moshe was going to shun him. So he sent a message to motivate Moshe to show him proper honor.
Right. So at least if you're not coming out for me, come out for your daughter's sake and for your children's sake.
So why would Yisro think that? Did they not have a good relationship?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it was because Moshe was a king and he thought maybe he had become arrogant.
I don't know. I'm not sure. שדרך שלא יקבלו עשר, מחמא שאין מקבלים גרים בימי דוד ושלמה, לא ימוס המשיח, ישראל היה עוז בגדולוסם, ולא היה מקבלים עשר. So he brings up a Parsha over here that wasn't referring to actually having him come and saying hello. But the point was, he wanted to know if he would accept him as being a ger, as a convert.
Oh.
That was the question over here.
So then what but that doesn't that makes me have difficulty with the comment of Rashi, because if it's a ger, if it's the issue of whether he accepts his gerus, right, what does that have to do with his children and his wife?
100%, I agree with you. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know.
I have
Okay.
a commentary here that says he was worried about criticism regarding Moses marrying his daughter.
And therefore,
He wanted to show that Moses was not embarrassed that he married Zipporah, even though she wasn't Jewish.
right.
But it says despite Yisro's earlier idolatrous lifestyle. Okay, so that makes sense. That fits. He's saying, you should come out to show that that you're not ashamed to have married Zipporah, even though I was an idol worshiper. And if you can't do it because of me, even though I was an idol worshiper, then think about your wife. And you can't do it for her, think about your children. Everything, all of them are dependent upon this relationship, which also fits because we see later that with Pinchas, they criticize him. They call him Putiel,
right?
Because they say his grandfather fatted calves,
right, to Avodah Zarah.
right? So that criticism was certainly in the world, certainly something that was a realistic fear on Yisro's part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he had been an idol worshiper, that's the idea.
Right.
In other words, he was an outcast. Felt Moshe Rabbeinu should accept him despite the fact that he'd been he was previously an idol worshiper.
Well, they might question the conversion, right? Which is what happened. Shimei said, you married a non-Jew. Why can't I?
Zimri, you mean?
Zimri, right? Yes, not Shimei.
Okay, fine.
Right. Thank you, Rabbi. Have a great day.
You too. Kol Tov.